It's your boy Lucky Loush, and today we're gonna talk politics. Oh no, not politics. I know, I get it. This is more of a cultural channel, and I do tend to stay away from politics, and that's for good reason. As a Lebanese Canadian, I do enjoy the political scene here in Canada, but when you go back to Lebanon or even the Arab world in general, politics can get very emotional and sensitive, and it has caused more division than unity in general. So I did find this political compass that I would like to do together. I haven't seen the questions yet, and I've always been curious, where would I stand on this compass, which seems to be sort of 4 squares, 4 colors. I do have sort of my own inclination. I have an idea of where I would stand, but I've never been through this test before, and I thought it would be fun to do it together. So please note that this isn't a survey. These aren't questions. They're propositions. To question the logic of individual ones that irritate you is to miss the point. Some propositions are extreme and some are moderate. That's how we can show whether you lean towards extremism or moderation on the compass. Woo! I'm kind of nervous actually. Your responses should not be overthought. Some of them are intentionally vague. Their purpose is to trigger reactions in the mind, measuring feelings and prejudices rather than detailed opinions on policy. Okay, now a quick note. I'm not against politics, don't get me wrong. I think that it's a beautiful thing when you can open up the dialogue, and I'm not hard-headed. I'm open to change. I'm open to evolving my thought process if I can be proven to do so, and I think that it's good if it's constructive and not abusive or insulting. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. Okay, transnational corporations, I mean, they're kind of painting them as the bad guy here. Obviously, serving humanity is an amazing thing. I'm gonna agree, because I'm not completely against transnational corporations. I'd always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. I don't know about that. That's a dangerous form of nationalism and patriotism, which kind of silences a little bit, and I'm not a fan of that. So I'm gonna disagree. No one chooses his or her country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. No, I strongly disagree. You should be proud of where you're from, no matter what. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. Our race has many superior qualities. Whew, our race. That's interesting. I'm gonna strongly disagree because the world is so diverse. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I strongly agree with that. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. International law, what are we talking about here? The United Nations? I mean, I'm from the Middle East, and international law has been known to be broken quite a bit. So it's never justified. So I'm going to strongly disagree. I'm gonna disagree because the international community can sometimes can show a little favoritism to some countries rather than others, and there's a lot of bad politics involved in that. There's now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. I strongly agree with that. Everybody's a headline reader these days. Now the economy. We're talking attitudes here, not the FTSE index. Okay, so you don't have to be a professional finance person. People are ultimately divided more by class than by nationality. I agree with that. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Controlling inflation is more, well, inflation, the power of your dollar, the spending power of a person, because then that affects the people that do have employment, which could then lead to more employment. So to more unemployment. So I'm gonna agree. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. I'm gonna strongly agree on that. The freer the market, the freer the people. I'm gonna agree with that. It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled branded consumer product. Yes, I agree with that. I strongly agree with that. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. I'm gonna disagree with that. The reason why I don't strongly disagree with that, I think that it should be a commodity to be bought and sold, but when you have, capitalism kind of leads people to these massive corporations to like take massive ownership on huge pieces of land. And I'm thinking just from the individual private perspective, not from like the corporate company perspective. So it should be bought and sold, but not at that commercial level where it's unfair for everybody. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. I strongly agree with that. I think social contribution is one of the foundations of a good society. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. I'm going to agree with that. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. I'm going to disagree with that. The rich are too highly taxed. In Canada, our tax system is like a scale, basically, depending on how much you make is how much you're taxed. Do we do it enough with Canada and here? I would agree with that. They're not too highly taxed. I would disagree. I think that they're taxed proportionately. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. I'm gonna agree with that because here in Canada, we have universal healthcare and it's a really good service, especially I call it from the cradle to the grave. When a baby is born or when there's a death, the healthcare system really pulls through and provides everything that you need for the person and their family. But because it's a public system, it can cause a lot of delays. You can wait sometimes months just to get a scan or a checkup of some sort if you need to see a specialist. And so I feel like if you're willing to pay more to see somebody, then that's okay. Governments should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Strongly agree. A genuine free market requires restrictions. I agree with that. Now, let's look at some of your personal social values. Whoo, this is where it gets a little bit personal now, because these are personal social values. All right, let's do it. I signed up for this. Oh my God, abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. I strongly disagree with that. All authority should be questioned. I strongly agree with that. Should always question authority no matter what. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. This is more of an accountability question. This is more revenge, retaliation. I'm gonna agree with that. All people have their rights, but it's better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. I strongly disagree with that. I don't know what they mean by their own kind. That seems like a can of worms there. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. I'm gonna agree with that. I mean, obviously the term spanking, I think is where the conversation needs to happen. To what degree, to what intensity, to what purpose. Disciplining, I mean, so now we're causing physical harm. I don't agree with physical harm actually, now that I'm kind of thinking it through. I thought I was replacing spank with discipline, which can be done without the use of physical violence. So I'm going to strongly disagree with that actually. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. I'm gonna strongly agree with that. I don't consume it, but to each their own, and I feel like it should be something that, just like cigarettes or alcohol, I feel as though it shouldn't be a criminal offense for personal use. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. No, I think its primary function is to educate. Wherever that path leads them is up to them. Strongly disagree. People with serious inheritable disability should not be allowed to reproduce. Oh my God. Strongly disagree. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Strongly disagree. That's not the most important thing for children to learn. There are no savage or civilized peoples. There are only different cultures. I'm gonna agree with that. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity. I strongly agree with that. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. I disagree with that. I don't believe in escapism. I don't believe in distracting yourself. I think that you need to address your troubles head on and find a solution for sure. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. Strongly disagree. As a first generation immigrant, as a first generation Lebanese Canadian, I am super proud and I am very much integrated in my country. Unless you're talking about first generation immigrants, because I was born in Canada, so first generation immigrants, so this would be my parents, fully integrated within their new country. Oh, no, I strongly disagree with that. I mean, I can only speak personally based on my family, the debt to society that they are constantly trying to pay and be contributing members of the society that they've joined has always been very, very clear to me. It's always been very obvious to me. So they are very much integrated in this country. What's good for the most successful corporation is always ultimately good for all of us. No, I strongly disagree. Corporations' only success is profit. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. No, I think I disagree with that. I think everybody needs to worry about surveillance. You're not guilty until proven innocent. I should have a right to my privacy without the need to feel guilty about it. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Nope. I strongly disagree. I believe in rehabilitation. That's our challenge as a society for those who need it most. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded in a civilized society. No, I disagree with that. I mean, we do need some guidance, we need some structure, but that's why I don't strongly disagree. But in terms of obey and command, that's a bit, those are extreme terms for me. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. We were just talking about that. I strongly disagree. It is a waste of time to try and rehabilitate some criminals. I strongly disagree. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. I strongly disagree with that. Well, mothers. Okay, so this is a specific term for moms, but their first duty is to be homemakers. No, I don't think their first duty is to be homemakers. My mother was very much able to create a home and have a career, sometimes multiple jobs in the early days. That's something we're really proud of. If you got through that okay, you'll find these propositions on religion a breeze. Oh no! It's time for religion. Astrology accurately explains many things. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think that it's science, which is objective and accurate and willing to be proven wrong at all times. You cannot be moral without being religious. I strongly disagree with that. It is important that my child's school instills religious values. I'm going to disagree with that. I think that that should be at home. It's a personal issue, not a public one. Finally, let's look at sex. Here we go, almost done, guys. Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. I mean, for me to judge somebody's morality based on whether or not they have sex before being married, I think is a stretch. I think that morality is far more complex than that, and you can have really terrible people out there with incredibly bad moral compasses who are able to not partake in that activity before marriage and still do a lot of harm to a lot of people, and vice versa. There's some really great people that may partake in that activity and have sex before marriage. So I'm gonna disagree with that. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. I'm going to Strongly agree with that, because I know that there is a massive child adoption need in the world. And there's a lot of kids out there that could have very great, happy homes, regardless of the couple, the house that they're, the sexual orientation of the home that they're entering. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. I mean, I don't believe in censoring. I don't believe in controlling what people consume. I believe in the person knowing better and using their own judgment to do things. I don't believe in a nanny state or a state that kind of controls that aspect of our lives. So I'm gonna agree with that. It should be legal for the adult population. Sure, why not? What goes on in a private bedroom between two consenting adults is no business of the state. I strongly agree with that. Openness about sex has gone too far. No, I disagree with that. I think that it's important. It's an important conversation. Actually, I strongly disagree with that. It hasn't gone too far. I mean, obviously, there's a limit in terms of a child's ability to consume that information and know better what to do with it. And that's where the moral compass comes in. It's not wrong to have information. It's wrong to not know what to do with it and how to act once you have it. And so I'm gonna switch it back to disagrees, because so long as the openness about sex can be in a responsible manner, where we're taking care of the children growing up and making them understand it's like a phased approach, and not giving them too much too soon, where their judgment isn't able to navigate them through those decisions, basically. So I'm just gonna disagree. All right, here we go. Let's see where I stand, guys. Where do I stand politically? Oh my goodness. Whew. Okay, my political compass. Okay, interesting. So social libertarian. Gandhi was basically to the left and a little bit down towards libertarian. So I relate more to Gandhi characteristics. Okay, good to see that I'm far away from Stalin and from Hitler. That's good news. Okay, and then obviously the green square, the one that I'm in, is voluntary regional collectivism. So I don't believe in the state being involved, and I believe in sort of the people making up their own choices. So social libertarian, so please vote for me in the next elections. I promise you, you won't regret it. Take this test if you want. I'm gonna link it in the description below. This was fun. It really got my mind going, actually. It's a really great exercise to ask yourself some questions and kind of run through, you know, what you think about a whole range of issues. So I don't mind social libertarian, being close to Gandhi. I mean, you know, allowing the person to be free and independent, and really focusing more on society as a whole and the collective good, and making the individual kind of push for what they want and aspire to be the best version of themselves. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Damn, Gandhi. Who would have thought? I'll take it.